Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. Tonight we're going to make spaghetti alla carbonara. Here are your ingredients. You might want to pause and write them down. Well, we're going to start with this really pretty piece of prosciutto. It would be better if we had pancetta or guanciale. Those are much more traditional for this, but you know, I live in Woodstock, Georgia, so I just go with the flow. This is what I could get. We're going to slice this up into tiny little pieces, about a 1/4 inch, maybe less, cubes, because we want to fry this really crispy. Now we want about 1/3 cup of freshly grated cheese for each person. I'm making dinner for 4. You can use Asiago. Pecorino is the more traditional. I'm using Asiago and Romano half and half. But you know, the main thing is that it's fresh and you grate it. Well, this is probably a little more than 1/3 cup each, but hey, cheese is like butter. You just can't have too much. Now's the time to start your pasta water. Okay, time to crack out the cast iron skillet. You want to get a pretty good sized one. I have 4 people. This is 10 inch. It's going to be kind of crowded. 12 inch might have been better, but we'll go with this. Got it set on a medium heat. And let's throw in about 3 tablespoons full of olive oil because we want to get this nice and crispy. Keep stirring it. We don't want it to stick or burn. Well, this looks and smells about done. We've got it at a pretty good sizzle. I'm going to turn it off, set it to the side, and we'll be back. Well, our pasta water is boiling, and we want about 3 ounces of dry pasta per person. I have 4 people for dinner. We're going to drop this in. That's almost a whole box. As soon as the water comes back to a boil, we'll set the timer for 1 minute less than the directions say. Okay, I've turned the prosciutto back on and I'm adding about 1.5 cups of the pasta water. This is where our creaminess is going to come from because you really don't add cream to this recipe, but I am going to add some butter because, you know, you can never have too much butter. About a tablespoonful per person will be enough for this. Okay, pasta's done. Now we're going to put it down into this pan, and this is why we cooked it for 1 minute less than directions, because we want it to actually still be al dente when we're done. Stir it good. We want to get it coated in all the flavors, the olive oil, the butter. See, we're starting to get that creamy texture. And okay, you know, I'm not crazy about black pepper, but in this dish, you must have black pepper. Freshly ground would be good, and lots of it. A little salt. We'll check it later to make sure we got the right amount. Next step, we're going to beat up 4 eggs, 1 for each person. Then I'm going to temper these with a little of the pasta water. I don't want scrambled eggs. Okay, now I'm going to whisk in half of the grated cheese. This is wonderful cheese. And this is the basis of the sauce. We've got eggs and cheese mixed together. They're going to mix up with that wonderful starchy water from the pasta. It's going to be like cream, only it won't be cream. Okay, now we're going to mix that in, add our creamy egg and cheese mixture in with the rest of our ingredients in the pasta, and we want to mix it really well, and it's kind of hard. This is why I said we should have started with a little bit bigger pan, but I'm going to soldier on through here and get this all mixed up. Okay, I'm going to show you the creaminess we're getting in this sauce without actually adding any cream. This is a reaction of the cheese and the starch and the egg. So it's time for us to do a little tasting. I want to make sure that that cream, see that rich cream? Oops, not cream. I want to make sure that it's salty enough and that it has enough pepper. And then I'm going to taste the pasta. And oh yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, gonna add a little bit more pepper. I mean, that's part of what this dish is. It's pepper. And because you can never have too much cheese or butter, we're gonna put almost all of the rest of the cheese on here. I'm gonna reserve just a little. One final stir to mix in that cheese, and then we're gonna plate this up. Be right back. You know, to me, this is really a unique dish. I'm gonna put on a little bit more cheese here, more as a garnish than anything else. And I don't know if you noticed, but no garlic. There's no garlic in this dish. And yet it is very much an Italian dish. The eggs and the cheese and the starch water really make this rich and creamy and lovely. And, you know, I could have this for breakfast, and why not? It's basically ham and eggs and some pasta. Thank you for joining us on Debbie's Back Porch. Hope to see you again tomorrow.